When the Seahawks first traded for Ernest Jones mid-season, it was hard not to view the move, but with an outhouse whiff of desperation. The starting two inside linebackers that the team had signed this offseason were working about as well as a pair of two left shoes. The backups weren't particularly good either, with the reserves being as thin as those onion slices that they were carving up in the prison scene in Goodfellas. The Tennessee Titans, let's face it, were out of the playoff hunt after about week 2. And it just kind of seemed like the Seahawks were jonesing for just about any kind of upgrade at the middle linebacker position that they could find. The move seemed a long shot, a chance to get a first look-see at Ernest before probably steering towards the future option in either free agency or the draft next year. Looks can be deceiving though. Instead of panic for the position, it would appear that the team handpicked a solution. He has assimilated to this defense like a skinwalker and has helped erase season-long issues that have plagued the team. The man slides off blocks like he was dipped in oil and eats up more tackles than the team consumes Uncrustables. He's been solid in coverage too, flirting with a couple of interceptions the past couple of weeks before finally snagging his first one against the Arizona Cardinals this past Sunday. But don't take my word for it. Let's dive onto the tape and let me show you why Ernest Jones looks like the answer at the middle linebacker position in the here and now and the future. For me, where you start with Ernest Jones is instincts and awareness in space. He inherently understands how offenses are looking to attack, especially against the run, and uses his pre-play understanding of the fronts and just innate feel to figure out where the play is headed. First play out the gate against the Bills in his first game as a Seahawk. The Bills are running a little inside zone to the strong side of the formation that they're just kind of trying to disguise as outside zone. Dalvin Cook makes an interesting cut, ignoring what looks like a decent hole to the front side. Dalvin, like his brother, is very quick with the jump cuts. Ernest tracks him the whole time. No small feat because the Bills run a combo block. And the guard, after initially helping out the tackle with Jaron Reed, tries to next get to the second level and Ernest. Jones effortlessly slides around his block, allowing the freeway traffic of bodies to flow past, breaks down in tackle form, and chops Cook right to the ground. Pre-snap recognition, flow to the back, get off the block, and make the tackle. Same kind of smarts at play in this next game against the Rams. Los Angeles is running an outside pitch play. Jones reads it true, and you can tell for certain by the noticeable sense of urgency directly after the snap. Just compared to the last play where he stays locked inside. He reads pitch quick, and that gets him to the ball carrier fast enough to force Kyren Williams to try and bounce it outside laterally. Jones rips him down without any help. He's not the most explosive or fast inside linebacker you'll find in this league, but Jones gets to the spot just as fast as those guys because his Rain Man reads will take him there. The Arizona Cardinals game at home a couple of weeks ago. Inside zone. Cardinals give James Conner freedom to go where he likes and set up runs to give him multiple options. Jones first has to stay home on the A gap and forces Conner to recognize him in that gap to take him to the next option. 2 bounce steps from Jones and he's right on top of Conner along with some help. Why do 3-4 defenses love those space eaters inside at the nose tackle position? Because as you can see with Hankins here, those inside linebackers can just tuck themselves behind the big-ass nose tackle, and the offensive lineman that is supposed to climb down to Jones just can't get around Hankins, who's the size of a small county. Another play that he just seems to feel from a mile away. The Seahawks smartly line their linebackers wide and have 3 safeties deep. Rodgers throws the bubble screen quick to the unguarded slot receiver. Jones breaks on the ball too fast for the blocker assigned to him to arrive. Again, I say, if you have a player that can read the play quick and get to the spot with supreme effort, that'll beat a twitchy slow thinker every time. Tackling is another part of Ernest Jones' game that has been a major upgrade. We're in an era where this is a dying art form, and Jones has largely mastered it. The 49ers here run their patented outside zone, their bread and butter. Jones has a tricky read here. On the left side of the defensive line, the 49ers have 3 blockers for the 2 Seahawks directly in front of them. The first threat is the 49ers getting the edge sealed, and if Jones gets stuck inside, it could be a long run outside. This makes him post-snap move with some aggression laterally to keep himself in position to get to the edge if needed. But then he also has to be mindful of the cutback inside if he flows too far outside. And that's just what happens. McCaffrey sees Jonathan Hankins has gotten pinned inside, and he's got a lane big enough to drive a San Francisco trolley through. Jones feels McCaffrey's read and bounces back inside to make the tackle in the hole without help. Notice when he tackles ball carriers, they go right down or backwards, rarely falling forward, rarely extending the run. Pitch play by the 49ers to the left. The moment Purdy turns to pitch the ball, Ernest Jones is already motoring to the edge. No hesitancy, he sees the play coming from a mile away. When he gets to Christian McCaffrey's spin move, he ties him up by his ankles and cuts him right to the ground. The read, the fast lateral flow, and the tripwire tackle. None of this is as easy as he makes it look. Back to the Bills game and a play that is just like the Jets bubble screen we saw earlier. Ernest Jones reacts instantaneously to Josh Allen opening his shoulders to throw the quick bubble screen to the tight end. Jones is on his horse, and yet also arriving under control, breaking down in the open field at the right time and making the sure tackle. Take note of him using the old Carroll Hawk tackling technique here, arriving under control, attacking the near leg to him on approach, wrap, and roll. Two inside linebackers on the same play, two different levels of effort. Jones is far away from this play on another bubble screen, and really he has no business getting back into this play for the tackle. He is running full steam from the snap, and though the Bills get a good gain here, Jones makes the tackle on the back of his high-octane motor. Tyrell Dodson, on the other hand, the man who's on the play side, the man who should have been in position to make the tackle and not force Jones to come from Bellingham to stop the big gain, not always on a football field is everyone playing with high-end effort. Another inside zone run in the Bills game. First, Jones must keep an eye on the B gap if Dalvin Cook presses it. Cook sees Jones in the gap and tries to bounce it outside. Jones adjusts, snapping off the climbing offensive tackle's block. He matches every shake and stutter from Cook's constant twitching and then wraps him up in space once again for a short gain without any help. All in a day's work for Ernest Jones. More inside zone from the Rams. Ernest Jones must first solve the moving human labyrinth to make this play. His ability to shadow a running back as he approaches the line of scrimmage while also hiding himself behind blocks and dipping around blocks at just the key moment before making the play just doesn't feel lucky, but a near special skill he possesses. Inside zone with a wham block. Try to bait the defense into believing it's outside zone, but the back turns it inside off the handoff. Ernest shows off his running back shadowing abilities again, mirroring the running back's moves, and catches Kyren Williams just past the line of scrimmage for a sure tackle. An outside zone run here against the Jets. Jones is seemingly responsible for both the B and A gaps, leaving Tyrese Knight as your force edge defender. Jones kind of sets Breece Hall up here with the running back read. He floats into the B gap after the snap, giving Breece Hall the read to cut it back inside, similarly to the Kyren Williams run a few plays ago. Jones keeps himself clean of the block with the aggressive post-snap bounce to the B gap. The Jets want to hit a dual block on Byron Murphy here and then have the left guard peeled down to Jones at the second level. In essence, Ernest Jones gets a 2-for-1, forcing the guard to commit just enough to where he is and not where he'll be, and also he makes Hall read that the A gap is open. That redirect bounce Jones has laterally is engaged here, and in a blink, he is standing in the A-gap, ready to meet the running back in the hole. Notice again, the running back goes sideways and not forward on the tackle. Very few extra yards to be found when Jones gets his hands on you. The ease by which Ernest Jones gets off blocks is kind of freaky. Linemen just can't get their hands on him. He dips and bounces around these second-level blocks, making it look easy. Here you have Trent Williams, one of the best all-time left tackles in the sport, but also one of your better movers in space for the position too. Trent barely helps at the line of scrimmage before getting right on top of Ernest, who just bounces right around his block so quickly, he's got Trent thinking to hold, though he does stop himself. Ernest then lays some lumber, and backwards goes the ball carrier. Trent gives it another try a few plays later in this game and has about as much luck as before. It's a stretch play from the 49ers, and Trent is counting on Ernest Jones to press to the edge to get ahead of the path of the run. He doesn't anticipate Jones bouncing inside of him to then sprint like hell to catch up to McCaffrey before he can turn it upfield. The smarts and confidence to know he can pull this move off. Well, if you're looking for proof of how impressive this play is, just look at how off guard he catches the future Hall of Famer Trent Williams. Another pitch play, this time against the Bills. Gets to the spot on time, avoids the block, makes the tackle. Meat and potatoes. But I'm telling you, after watching the early season linebacker play or recent years of guys like Jordan Brooks and Cody Barton, this is a big time upgrade. The Arizona Cardinals love to run gap out of read option. The right tackle has a clear path to get his block on Ernest Jones here. As I've shown in a few examples, Jones slides right off the block as though it was easy, and then helps to make the tackle on James Conner. He's always got these guys climbing to the second level, leaning over their toes, extending their arms fully to reach him like a kid who can't quite get to the cookies in the cookie jar. Jones first drops into zone here against the Jets and then reads the screenplay a little late. Because of this, the guard is out in front of the play and gets to him on time. But Ernest Jones has seen Top Gun. It's probably one of his favorite movies, and he uses the move.
I'm gonna hit the brakes, he'll fly right by. You're gonna do what?
The guard goes stumbling into the abyss, and Jones helps to rally to the ball and make the tackle. On this pitch play against the Jets, both the left guard and the tackle for the Jets have a clean shot at landing their block on Jones. First, the guard fails, only managing to tap Jones on his lower back like they were playing tag. The slight push does send Jones into a better position for the tackle to land his block squared right up. I'm really not all that sure how Jones gets off the block here. He attacks the right shoulder of the tackle and is able to push off of him to make the tackle. Shout out to Byron Murphy for almost making the tackle for loss, but Jones makes sure Hall goes nowhere. Can he cover? This is the place of Jones' game that is perhaps under the greatest scrutiny, or was by reputation prior. It's not so much that he was lacking, it's just not the strength of his game. He's actually been very good in coverage for the Seahawks. The same smarts and instincts that help him in the run game extend to his zone coverage drops. Against the Cardinals at home, Kyler drops back to pass, looking initially to his left to the read Ernest Jones is taking away with his coverage drop. Leonard Williams forklifts the guard to the ground, flushes Kyler, and Julian Love almost makes an insane interception, but it's all started by that first opening solid coverage drop by Jones, taking away that first read of Kyler Murray. In that same game against the Cardinals, Arizona runs a flood zone concept, meaning to have Jones get drawn into picking up tight end Tip Ryman in coverage, who is the first player through his zone. The Cardinals want Jones to stay on Ryman and get yanked out of the zone so that the player running behind Ryman, Marvin Harrison, will have a gaping hole that he can settle down into for Kyler. It kind of feels like Jones is aware of what they're trying to do to him conceptually. He hands off Ryman and sinks up on Harrison. Kyler stares at the read, but has nowhere to go. Spot dropping for inside linebackers can be a skill hard to determine, but it does show up when you do it right. You're told to drop to a spot on the field where you set up your zone coverage, but you're also going to have to match to routes and understand how the opposition is trying to attack you. On this play, Aaron Rodgers has a mismatch with Devontae Adams running his crossing route into Jones' space. Ernest moves not to where Adams is at, or approaching from, but to where the route is going. Rodgers double clutches and ends up throwing it to the flat on the far side of the field. One-on-one with a great wide receiver? No problem. And then we got this splashy play with Ernest in coverage. Against his old team from a few weeks ago, Jones gets a good initial 7 yards of depth on his zone drop. Colby Parkinson falls down at the line of scrimmage, throwing off the timing of the play, and Jones ends up taking away 2 routes at once and then nearly makes the interception. He just barely dropped it, but he was in the right place at the right time. In zone, he has a strong understanding of where he needs to be that almost seems like feel. Early in the game, Jones drops into coverage with his hips flipped towards the tight end. The Seahawks have off coverage on the outside, and this makes Kyler quickly deduce that the in-breaking route should be open in the middle of the field. Ernest flips his hips just before the throw and undercuts the route for an interception. It seems he can bait both running back and quarterback into poor decisions. These last 2 plays just show the effort and hustle Jones brings on a weekly basis, along with the instincts and tackling ability. Late in the game at home a few weeks ago, the Cardinals have a 3rd down and goal, down by 10. Jones drops deep into coverage post-snap, all the way into the end zone. Kyler gets out of trouble in the pocket, and if I pause it right here, you can see the degree of difficulty Jones has to overcome to make this tackle. He is 15 yards away from Kyler, with Kyler having the wide side of the field to get to the pylon. Let's remember, Murray is one of your quicker, more mobile quarterbacks in the sport. Ernest takes a great pursuit angle, cuts Kyler off from the end zone, and doesn't get shook by the dead leg, making another sure tackle. This stop forced the Cardinals to have to take the field goal to keep the game within a score. This is about as tough a tackle as you'll get for an inside linebacker dealing with a hyper-mobile quarterback in the open field. This game against the Packers from a few days ago was no picnic at the beach. The defense struggled to find many stops early on, though they eventually found some footing, and just as the game was drifting towards the darkness, with the Packers about to consummate a nail-in-the-coffin drive, Ernest Jones, who led the team in tackles on the day as he normally has since arriving, made what could have been a game-changing play if the offense didn't suddenly go impotent on the day. This incredible play is just another to show off his hustle. He's set up here to be responsible for the A and B gap on this side of the line of scrimmage. Tyrese Knight is responsible for the A and B gap on the other side. Post-snap, Jones takes care of his pre-snap responsibility, bouncing off the climbing block of the center. However, Knight gets pinned inside and Derek Hall crashes down so hard he over-pursues and loses his edge leverage. Houston, we've got a problem. Josh Jacobs has an unguarded opening to the outside and a potential big run. Ernest, though, saves the day, just like he saved Christmas for this defense. He scrambles back into the play and catches a stumbling Jacobs at just the right moment and hits him with the Peanut Tillman punch. The Seahawks recover the fumble, the offense goes down and got their only touchdown in the game. And Seattle, on a day where not much went right, were suddenly within 10 points, thanks to Ernest not giving up on the play, providing that Herculean effort. In just a short few weeks, Ernest Jones has shown us the full desired skill set of a top-end modern NFL inside linebacker. Hopefully, these plays gave you a good feel for that. Ernest Jones irradiates the run game, leaving a wasteland of tackle ball carriers where they once ran free. He's like one of those road bollards that can take a truck going 60 miles an hour and bring it to a dead standstill. It's not so much as being a heavy hitter as a sure tackler with a knockback kind of power when he arrives at the moment of impact. Hard hit or not, when Ernest gets his hands on you, you go down. I don't know if the Seahawks are going to sign Jones to a contract extension this offseason. It can be a challenge for the devalued inside linebacker position to get paid in this day and age. Yet, I think when it's all said and done, Jones is going to be a Seahawk for a very long time. His instincts, tackling, and fluid fit to the defense makes one wonder, why create a question when you already got a ready-made answer? My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Hawks Nest. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. But beyond all that, don't you ever forget, go Hawks.